You've heard the story before. The universe began as a dot, a single point in a vast empty void. No planets, no stars, no time, no sound, just pure potential waiting. Then it exploded. Science calls it the Big Bang. The sudden expansion of space, energy, and matter, a cosmic accident, they say, a spark of heat and pressure that gave birth to everything. But that's not the whole story, because before that dot expanded, something had to notice the dot. Before there was light, there had to be the capacity to witness light. Before time began ticking, there had to be something outside of time, quietly watching. We call it consciousness. Not thought, not personality, not a mind inside a head, but the field of awareness itself, the invisible presence that doesn't begin or end. It was there before creation, not as a god with a name, but as a question that echoed into form. What am I? And that question, not a theory, not a force, was the real beginning. Because it wasn't energy that caused the universe to expand. It was curiosity. It was desire to know itself. The desire of consciousness to experience itself, not as everything, but as something, to split and reflect, to separate and remember. The Big Bang didn't come from nowhere, it came from one becoming two, from stillness becoming motion, from infinite presence becoming a single point, so it could see itself through contrast. That's how form was born. And from that point forward, the game began. Not as a mistake, not as a fall, but as a movement, from unity into duality, and eventually back again. So while science tells you the universe started from pressure, the mystics will tell you it started from awareness slowing down enough to be felt, not because it had to, but because it wanted to. This is where your story begins too. Because you are not a product of that explosion. You are a spark of the awareness that existed before it. You are not the result of matter randomly assembling itself into thought. You are the thought that gave matter permission to exist. That's why no theory of evolution can explain your ability to observe your own mind. That's why no telescope can find the edge of the universe, because the observer is inside what it's trying to measure. The truth is, the Big Bang didn't happen outside you. It happened within consciousness, and you are a living extension of that field. You are not in the universe. The universe is in you. And the moment you stop chasing the origin out there, and begin listening to the silence inside, you start to remember what came first. Most people think consciousness comes after the body. That your brain evolved, and then somewhere along the way, awareness showed up, like steam rising off hot water, a side effect of complexity. But this is backward, because without consciousness, there would be no complexity to observe. No brain to measure, no science to explain anything at all. The observer isn't something the system created. The system only exists because of the observer. Imagine waking up in a dream. You walk through a city, you talk to people, you feel the sun on your face, but none of it is real, not in the way you think. It all appears to be there because you're there, noticing it. Your awareness is what gives it texture, what gives it meaning. Now imagine if you forgot you were dreaming. If you started believing that the buildings, the streets, the people were there without you. That's what modern science is doing. It's explaining the dream, but it forgot the dreamer. It's measuring what's inside awareness, while pretending awareness is just a byproduct of what's being measured. But look closer and you'll see something remarkable. No scientist has ever found where consciousness begins. No scan can detect the spark that lets you know you're alive. Because it doesn't start, and it doesn't end. It's the one thing you don't experience because it's the thing through which all experience happens. It was there before your name, before your memories, before you even knew what a thought was. You felt it in your first breath. You feel it now, in the quiet, in the stillness, in the part of you that watches. That's not your brain, that's the same field that witnessed the first flash of light. And it's still here, watching through your eyes, listening through your body, experiencing itself through you. That's how the story loops back. You're not just made of stardust, you're made of the awareness that made stars possible. And the more you remember that, the less you need the universe to explain itself, because it's not out there to be solved. It's in here to be remembered. Before we keep going, if this is landing for you so far, like the video so more people see it. And if you want more grounded content like this, hit subscribe. Now let's talk about what happened when consciousness started to explore separation, and why forgetting was never a flaw. It was part of the path. After the first expansion, after consciousness asked, "What am I?" It didn't just watch, it stepped into the experience, it moved through light and form, it folded into vibration, it became the elements, the atoms, the stars. And then it became life, but not just life in general, it became specific. You, me, us. Not all at once, but in layers. Each layer more condensed than the one before. Each layer more immersed, more embodied, more forgetful. Because to fully experience form, consciousness had to slow itself down. To walk, to touch, to taste, to feel time. And Earth, this physical realm, became the slowest layer, the most immersive, the most convincing. Here, consciousness could experience not just beauty but fear. Not just creation but consequence. It could look at its own reflection and not recognize it. That's how real it became, and at first, this forgetting was sacred. It allowed contrast. It allowed growth. It allowed the story of me to unfold without interruption from the truth of everything. But something happened. The deeper consciousness went into form, the more fragmented it became. The more identities it built. The more wounds it carried. The more loops it repeated, until it forgot that it was still consciousness playing a role. Imagine water freezing slowly. First it slows into cold, then it becomes solid, then it forgets it was ever fluid at all. That's what happened to us. We didn't fall, we froze. And the longer we stayed in the frozen state, the more we believed this was the only reality. We forgot how to listen to the field. We forgot that we are not the story. We are the witness of the story. But that forgetting isn't permanent, because even frozen water still holds memory. Even the most dense identity still has a crack of light. And the moment that light returns, even as a whisper, the remembering begins. You start to question the story. You feel something deeper behind the emotions. You see patterns in the pain. You start to sense that you are not just inside reality. You are a reflection of what reality is made from. That moment, the first glimpse of truth behind the illusion, is not the end of the journey. It's the beginning. You've been told your body came first, that cells formed and thoughts followed. That awareness is something that happens once the brain is ready. But now you remember, that awareness was here before your first breath. Before your name, before even time. It's not a side effect of your biology, it's the source that allowed biology to appear. And even now, as you listen to these words, that awareness is not thinking, it's not analyzing, it's simply present. You don't need to earn it. You don't need to awaken it, you just need to return to it. That's what this journey is really about, not learning something new, but unlearning the illusion that you were ever separate. Because yes, the body is real, the emotions, the thoughts, the memories are all real in the same way a dream is real while you're dreaming it. But the moment you wake up, you realize you were never the character, you were never the problem, you were never the story trying to heal, you were always the field. Watching, waiting, willing to play the game just long enough to feel what it's like to forget. That's what makes Earth sacred. Not because it's the center of the universe, but because it's the place where forgetting becomes remembering, where slowness becomes presence, where matter becomes mirror, where separation becomes the doorway back to the source. And once you see that, you don't need to escape life. You don't need to fix it. You just need to live it awake, to walk it with the awareness that consciousness came first. And it never left. If this gave you something real to feel, like the video so more people see it, and if you want more grounded, no fluff content like this, hit subscribe. In the next video, we'll talk about duality, why opposites exist, how contrast became the learning tool of consciousness, and why the mirror was never the enemy. The content on this channel is for educational and entertainment purposes only. It does not constitute scientific, philosophical, psychological, or lifestyle advice. Always do your own research when exploring scientific claims or spiritual teachings. This video is a creative synthesis of published theory, observable patterns, and documented history at the time of